Sierra here with Gypsy Faye Creations. Thanks so much for tuning in. Today's soap is a little different than what I have normally done in the past. I wanted to try something new, and that is a salt bar. They've kind of scared me, so I haven't found the courage to do them until now, because I got the Milk Soap book by Anne Marie, who is the CEO over at Brambleberry, probably last year, and there was a few recipes in there I wanted to try. So today I thought I'd bring you along as I make some salt bars. There's a couple different ways to do this, and I think I might try doing them both. One way, which I'm going to do first, is by dissolving the salt in the hot lye solution. So I've got my distilled water here with a little bit of Tussa Silk. This recipe is out of that book, and of course I've tweaked it a little bit to add my own personal touches on it, and hopefully it still comes out. Alright, going to throw my lye in there. We're going to stir that until it is all dissolved and the water is clear and not murky and cloudy. Once that happens, I will put in my sea salt, let that cool a little bit, and the sea salt I chose is a Himalayan sea salt, a pink sea salt, and it is a fine grain. So if you've never used a salt bar before, it has a very gritty, exfoliating, scratchy kind of feel for it, and really popular in spas. It has like exfoliating features to it, and then of course if you add salt to things, especially sea salt, there's plenty of benefits to that, which I won't go into. And you can use different grains of sea salt, like I'm going with the fine. I'm also dissolving it in the hot water because I don't want this to be too scratchy, and there's just one way of doing it. So I think I'll make up 2 batches, and in the second batch I'll put in the salt in the actual soap batter. Alright, let that sit for a minute. Pour in our sea salt and let that dissolve, and then I'll show you what else is going in this recipe. So my oils here, I have some castor, canola, and coconut oil. When making salt bars, you have to remember that salt inhibits lather, but coconut oil kind of balances that out and creates the lather that the salt takes away. So there's about 80%, you can sometimes work with 90% coconut oil, and then just like a little bit of the other oils that are in there. I am going to also add some heavy whipping cream to this recipe at Trace, and stirring my salt water over here, make sure that all dissolves while I'm talking. I'm going to color this in some all-natural colorants. I have some rose clay in this container, and then I have some sea clay or French green clay that I'm going to do the main base in. Add my kaolin clay in here as well. I think if this all goes out as planned and isn't that big of a deal and cause me problems, I'm going to do a second batch, and maybe I'll mix it up a little bit and do the main batter pink and then a little accent color of the sea clay. That way there is a difference. So like one will be green with a little bit of pink, and the salt will be dissolved in the lye solution, and then the other batch will be mainly pink with some sea clay as the accent, and then I'll just put the actual sea salt in my soap batter. So hopefully I get 2 different soaps out of this experiment here. The fragrance is another inspiration for this soap, and it's called Serenity. It is from Brambleberry's Spa Retreat collection, and it has notes of lavender, rosemary, rose, lilac, pear, clove, sandalwood, and then it has some rosemary, cedarwood, and clove essential oils in it. So I'm just going to keep stirring this lye solution until everything is dissolved, and we'll start putting this all together. Well, I just can't get that to dissolve any more than it is. It's just so saturated, it's taking forever, and it has cooled down to where it needs to be. So I'm going with good enough. The one thing that scares me about salt bars is that when you add salt to your recipe, it tends to accelerate your soap batter. So there's that. You gotta work quickly, and it sets up really, really fast. I'm also using a fragrance that, although it says it has no discoloration and no vanillin, it does accelerate trace. So let's just throw that into the mix as well. Try and get all that salt that's stuck to the bottom. So not all of it has dissolved. I did my best. Alright. I don't know how much I enjoyed that method, but we'll see how it turns out. So the plan was to use individual molds. Well, I don't think I'm getting this into an individual mold. I am going to try and force it into a loaf mold. Panic, panic! And then of course my liner. I wasn't prepared. I just totally was not prepared. So we're going to smush this all down in here, making huge, huge mess. See, you guys, this stuff scares me. And then we're going to let it sit for a few hours because it's going to harden up really quick and we'll not be able to cut it with my wire cutter if it gets too hard. I might try and put some decorations on top of this, but I'm going to go give this a nice big smack down. Try and get all those air pockets out of there. Bit of a nightmare there. Finally decided what I wanted the top of this to look like. And now I'm just going to put some red rose petals on this and some black sea salt and hope that it looks decent because that was a nightmare. It was truly a nightmare. My goodness. Now I'm scared to try this again. I really wanted them to be in the single mold so that it'd be easier to just unmold them and not have to cut a salt bar. So worst fears coming true here. So red rose petals on, black sea salt sprinkled on. Let this sit for a couple hours. I'll keep checking on it just to see if it's like solid enough to unmold. And then we'll go to the cutting part, which hopefully won't be a nightmare, but the way this soap is treating me, I'm sure it will be. You guys, I can't even with this soap. Like the top of it, yeah, that's pretty. The bottom of it, hot mess. Like, oh, I don't even know what to do with it. I think round 2, I'm going to change a few things, but it's been sitting here for 3 hours, maybe a little bit more. It's turned on its side, not that I think I can do any more damage to it than I've already done. You can see it is really hard. Alright, well, that one looks pretty decent. These are going to be on clearance in my Etsy shop. So if you want to try a salt bar at a really good price, I'll leave you guys a link down below. And I think the next shop update is going to be May 22nd. So that is where they will be on May 22nd. I'm going to make another batch, change up the recipe. Look, this one, not bad. That one's pretty decent. Well, then you just drop it. You just throw it while you're at it. Changing up the recipe, I'm going to work at room temperature. Maybe that'll help. See, I told you I was scared of salt bars. The fragrance smells really good, so I would like to keep the fragrance in there, even if that did contribute to the acceleration of it. It's very fresh, very floral, has a little bit of spice note to it. It just smells like spring to me. So I'm hoping to use that one in the other recipe. So hang tight, I'm going to speed up the rest of this video, and I'm going to attempt salt bars again. I know, I'm a glutton for punishment. Alright. Well, back for round 2, so here goes nothing. Alright, let's unmold a few of these and see how it went. The first time I used this mold, I absolutely hated it, so this is the second time. I figured since I used just regular cold processed soap with this mold last time and everything was really sticky and hard to release, that putting a salt bar in it that hardens up really nicely should work out very nicely. So if you have this mold, I suggest making salt bars in them because it comes out super easy. You hear how hard? It's a really hard bar of soap. So that is one reason why they are so easy to remove. And I got to say, this is what I was going for. This is what I wanted the soap to look like. And I'm glad I tried again. Working at room temperature, I did use a different recipe, but I think the main thing was working at room temperature. I also didn't add as much cream to it, and working with hotter temperatures and trying to get trace, I always find that I over mix things. Ooh, I just have a hard time telling when I've reached trace. So that's a lot of the reasons why I don't do hot heat transfer methods, because I just have so much trouble figuring out when trace is achieved. I'm just so used to doing the cold process method, and then that's what I'm going to stick to. And it turned out really nicely in these soaps. These are making a mess. If you guys would like to purchase one of these, they will be available on May 22nd. Thank you guys so much for sticking with me through this adventure. It turned out as, you know, typically it always does. It turns out into soap. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. If you are new to the channel and you like soap making, don't forget to subscribe. Any questions or comments, you can leave them for me in the comment section down below. And until next time, I hope you have a very nice day, and I will smell you later.